doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family because we only can take care of us? Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, if you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
What's up, fam, on this Thursday afternoon? I'm doing okay. It's the midway point of summer. We done hit July. You know what I'm saying? We done had our fireworks and our explosions or whatever like that. Now it's just like, yeah.
All right.
We survived. Hey, you know what I wanted to ask you though? How are you doing? I know you in Texas. I know you guys have had like some major catastrophic natural events. You know, our hearts go out to you and your neighbors and everybody in the county and everything like that. You know, how are things down there?
Crazy. People are, it's been like people in this local area closer to Dallas that like it affected some people's kids that were there at this camp. So apparently what people, maybe not everybody is known to this, but this particular camp is basically a rich kid camp. It's like a lot of the kids that go there, they're from wealthy families. It's not just somebody taking their kid, dropping off to camp for the summer. It's like a pretty big deal. And so I personally believe, as sad as this is, sometimes it's like when you see these situations like this, it's like it shows you how when certain people get behind things, it gets certain amount of attention. You know what I'm saying? Like when the right people get in, the right people get to standing up and arguing, things happen. So like right now, they are really, it's people going to bat and going to war to not only see where the ball was dropped, but to not quit until they do what they need to do to find these people. You know what I mean? So it's really sad to witness, though, when you look at that and you think as a parent, no parent want to ever get no phone call like that. You know what I mean? Something like that to happen. Or whoever, somebody's spouse or family member are there. You don't want to get no call with someone is telling you something like that has happened. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why.
Go ahead, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
No, that's why I was asking, because I was just, I've been watching, I've been tracking it on the news in terms of, how many lives have been lost up to this point in time, and just checking on everybody and seeing what's happening and everything like that. So, yeah, man, just wanted to see what's going on.
You know what, and just before you tap off on that, another thing that it brings to your attention is you see how they disseminate different information as they feel the need to, right? And if you think about it in a relationship, you notice how something may happen in a relationship and then the person comes home and tell you a certain degree. And then you, whatever that is, if it's heavy, you got to deal with that. And then 2 days later, instead of them telling you, well, it was just one other person I was dealing with, they come home and say, well, it was really 10. So that's kind of like the situation. They told people it was, they had you thinking it was like, either way you look at it, it's tragic. But it kind of made you make it feel like it's this many people and we're just trying to find them and that's it. Only to come back days later and say, well, actually it's 170 more. People are like, what in the world? So it's like, I guess when you think about it, it's a matter of accountability. Because people know if you gave that kind of number out initially, heads are going to roll on sight. right? If you gave that kind of number out initially, something has to be a response. And so I think people wanted to probably give themselves a chance to get their head around it before they let it fly. You know what I'm saying? But there is no way to
Yeah,
kind
yeah, and I think too with it. Right. No, I was going to say, I think too, it also has to do with the fact that you don't know what the aftermath is until you get beyond the storm. You got to take up account. You got to do a head count. You got to go in and you have to assess damage. You have to look at areas for what they are, and that wasn't able to happen until after the flood waters receded, so that you could actually accurately assess, how many lives were lost, how many people are still missing, what's the damage in terms of particular areas and everything like that. So yeah, I get it.
that stuff, man. When you look at that stuff, it's just like wow. It makes you say one thing for sure. We can be as smart as we are and entrepreneurial and create all of these brilliant things that scientists do, but you cannot mess with nature. Nature is
Oh
undefeated.
yeah, we have.
Whatever nature wants to do, nature does, and it's just that, right? There's nothing you can do about it. It's just like wow. But
Yeah.
so we're gonna do a quick drive by, and we're gonna roll onto the show. All right, Barber Boy, the Barber Boy. All right, really quickly. 4th of July, he went he went out of town to Alabama for 4th of July, right? He went back home. I think he said he had to go to a funeral of one of his relatives, and that was that. So, he and I do our typical thing on Thursdays. So he reached out to me Tuesday night, which was odd. He never reaches out to me first. I always confirm with him. But he reached out to me on Tuesday and said, "Hey, we still doing our thing on Thursday." And I said, "Correct." Then he says to me, he says, "Yeah, I'm just trying to get back there." He says to me, "Do you think," and this is where it gets odd, Adam, "do you think you can pay in advance for the haircut?" Right? He said, "Can you pay advance for the haircut?" And I was sitting here like, I'm putting two and two together. You back at home, you with the girl, you getting out of money. So
Right.
I think that was kind of odd. So I cut him a little pass, and I didn't say anything in back to him on Tuesday. I just let it go. Wednesday, I reached out
Okay.
and said, "So are you good?" Because I ain't trying to let him get stuck if that's his issue, right? I said, "So you good?" He said, "Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah." I was just trying to make sure I was straight coming back up the road, and I said, "LOL, cool." Then I thought that was it. I thought he was good. Then he responds back and says to me, "Hey, I got my girl in the car. If you have Zelle, she got Zelle. If you could send it to her." And I'm sitting here like, so he in the car with the girl, and I'm like, okay, all right. So then I said, look, we ain't gonna do all this. I said, bang, I cash chat you. He said, man, I really appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30. So this morning, I go up there. I looked and I parked. At first, I'm thinking he better be here. I said to myself, "You better be here at 10:30 because all this." I looked in front of me
Right.
and I said,
Right.
"That's the
Right.
car." When I looked in front of me, I said, "That's the car from the gas station." The girl was in it, so the girl was here. Like the girl is here. Well, she was here. To put it that way, she was there. I saw the little Mississippi plates, and I'm like, "Oh, so the girl came back and must have brought him back up here." So I get out the car. I had to get my looks in. I looked over there, and she in the passenger seat, all laid back, and a little girl in the back. So I go in the barber shop. He in there. He like, "Come on, let's go ahead on." So we start the cut, and I said, so he said, "Man, I really appreciate you helping me out or whatever." I said, "So your girl is back here now?" He said, "No, no, no. She just came here to give me a ride. She drove me." I said, "How far is Alabama from here?" He said, 9 hours. He said, "So you was a lifesaver when you came through with the gas." And I was just like, okay. So we going on and on and on. And of course, he had to pause a couple times to go outside and do something to see about her, give it to her or whatever. Then he comes back in.
Right.
He said, "Man, I'm sorry. Give me one more second." He go out there. He said something to her in the words, and then he was like, "All right, then." She takes off. And I said, "Where is she going now?" He said, "She's going to." our storage when we left, we kind of had to hurry up and put stuff in storage the first time we moved out of our apartment. And so he said, what, we was kind of behind on that bill. So I had to make some money this morning and give her the money to pay the storage. And I just turned around and looked at him and I said, listen, buddy, I said, this is all trending wrong. I said, first of all, if you didn't have the money, I said somebody in your family should have maybe helped you out. If you didn't have the money to go home and she didn't have it or whatever, by no means do you do a poor man's trip. Like you go down there and now you're trying to get gas to come back and you got her to bring you back. You flew down there, but her driving you all the way back. And then she leaves today, Adam, and go back 9 hours by herself with a little girl. Made no sense. She was there for like 40 minutes of me being at the barbershop. And then I said, so where's she going now? Oh, she got to hit the road. She got to go ahead on and go back. And I was like, well, why? Y'all just got here last night or late this morning. So what she had to go back for that fast?
Right.
It's like, so she goes back or whatever. And so then he immediately turns to me and he said, remember that time you was talking about some part-time work, man? Hey, let me know. If you got anything, I'm ready because I need to do that and make that. I said, where you gonna spend it? And he started laughing. I said, what you gonna spend the money on if you do that with part-time job? And he laughed. I was serious. But my point was, I'm like, dude, right. So I was talking to him. I was just like, man, you just I said, trust me when I tell you, I've been your age. I've been in your situations numerous of times where we as men move foolishly. Because we quote unquote say we in love or whatever. I said, but love ain't, as you can see, it ain't paying your bills. It ain't keeping you afloat. It's not keeping you responsible. I said, so at the end of the day, if you call yourself being this person that he claims he's trying to teach her values and morals and all that stuff, because he talked about her as a kid. He says her mother left her. He said her mother left her and her father for another man. That's what he said. And he said she did it twice. The mother came back twice and left. So he was trying to paint the picture of she don't know love. She don't know how to do respect and loyalty and all these things. So I was just like, well, you got your work cut out for you. You got to make sure you mentally wrapped to be able to be anything to her. I said, because right now, this seems a little cascading to me. And he was just like, well, I appreciate it, man. Anything you can do to help out brother mentally with me. So that's the first time he actually said that. He said anything you could do to help me out mentally would be helpful. I'm like, well, it's going to start with you first. You got to help you first. And for you let somebody else help you, then we go from there. But I was like, boy, you be doing the most. Yeah. It's a lot.
Dude, listen. Here's the thing though, right? And I get it to an extent. But he need to learn how to let go, man. This is not going anywhere. I think we don't know when we should leave a situation. We don't understand the cues that we get from other people that are a clear indication that this relationship isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the longer you stay in this relationship, the more abuse you're going to receive. Because you don't know how to leave. You don't know how to let go. What else is it going to take for him to understand that this is not good for him? I mean, is it going to take a mental breakdown for him to realize and recognize that this is not going anywhere? This is crazy, man.
I don't understand. Listen, as a man, I had to say to myself, how far down did he have to dig to ask his customer who's cool with him, but I'm not your family and your friend like that, to ask somebody for pre-money to get back because you done went down there and gave all that money away. That's really what happened. He done went down there and paid the deal, whatever he had to do, and took care of whatever he had to do, and now he got to scrape to get back home. So now you here having to rob Peter, Paul, Kevin, Tony, and Diana to make it. So what you gonna do? So yeah.
Listen. And I don't want to say this the wrong way. I want to say it the right way. But my thing is, if I'm in a relationship, if I'm in a equitable relationship, Charles, with a person who is just as able-bodied as I am,
is as intelligent as I am,
Yeah.
why am I going into debt to try to help them? Why, and especially when there's no return on this investment, especially when there's nothing reciprocated as a result of it. Okay, you might not be able to give me the money back, but in some where's the exchange?
Yeah.
So am I just giving money away for the sake of just giving money away out of my charitable, magnanimous heart? I'm having some problems with this. just messing with my mind right now, man.
He
I
can.
don't,
You know what it is?
psychologically.
He doesn't see it this way, but clearly he is doing what's a popular thing today. He is paying to play. He just don't see it that way. She's wrapping herself in "I love you," but really she's saying I whatever this is, but there is a cost attached to me, and he's paying that tariff, and it's
Right.
showing. She got a tariff attached to her, and he paying it,
Yeah.
and so it's just like, dude, I'm like, wow. So it just kind of, it's already got, they kind of got a rough go at it. So I'm like, you can't afford to have a rough situation and be depleted. Something got to give. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah.
Something I get.
All right. Let's go ahead on and graduate from there. All right. So today we're talking about a couple of things. We'll talk about a couple of things. So, Deanna said he's a sim in there. I said it. She said, let's put this on after. I guess we have to do a show about that soon. The sim. That's a popular thing trending anyway. So today we're going to talk about what's happening in the world, Adam. And it's like there's a world of people that's looking for love, right? And then there's a world of people looking to lease, right? And leasing is, you know how Airbnb is the business of, I got some property, I hooked this property up, I put it in a good location, and I'm charging this amount for it so that you can go there and enjoy it, right? You can go there and enjoy it. Now, then there's the other side, which represents the love, which people might say is unpopular. But the love side is kind of basically the purchaser's mind, right? The mind of the purchaser, right? That they want to own and get the benefits of ownership rather than leasing. So today, it seems like a lot of people are acting. Maybe they don't know what's actually happening compared to what's actually happened. But what's really happening in this world is people are offering themselves up for lease. And that really just means you get to rent. You get to rent the benefits of me for little to whatever my cost is, but it's a rental. Now, the thing about Airbnbs that we need to keep in mind, no different than a hotel, is you're leasing them, but the problem is 24, 7 to 8 hours before someone else just left your bed. See, that's the kicker. When you're doing this like this, you got to remember when you're leasing anything, you're sharing use. When you go to the rental car from the airport, you might need the car, you might have your reason, but in your mind, you're sharing the germs on the steering. They're not going in there sanitizing the car. After they vacuum the car out, turn it over. In the hotels, they vacuum it out, change the used sheets, turn it over, put a little water on something, dump the trash, and here's the new room again. So this is the world of how we are. We are saying, I'm out here. I don't got time to play these games, but I'm out here in the streets. So you out here in the streets playing Airbnb person. I'm an Airbnb person, right? You can lease me, but these are the particulars to lease me. If you do this, if you pay this, if you take me over here, if you show me this kind of love, blah blah blah, you can have your block of time with me. And that's where we are today. And it's just kind of like, man, what a world.
Yeah. So, So let's break it down like this. Let's break it down like this. And I think you've already kind of done it, but let's go a little further with this. So you have three levels of I guess lodging or shelter or housing, right? So whenever you go on a trip, you want to rent a hotel room. I just had to do that the other day. You have to rent a hotel room. You have to find a place that you want to stay for a brief period of time because you're not going to be there forever. You're just there to do whatever it is that you're doing. Either you're conducting business, maybe you're there on a brief little vacation or whatever. But again, you're just there for a brief period of time and it costs you a certain amount of money and you got fees and taxes or whatever like that. So ordinarily, if it's just you, then it's, a small hotel room or whatever, maybe a condo or something like that. Your next level of expense with this is of course, your Airbnb, your houses, sometimes you apartments or condos, depending on what area you're in. But ordinarily, what happens is with an Airbnb, because you're occupying a larger amount of square footage, it's going to cost you more. Not only that, you have a lot more accoutrements. You have a lot more of you got a washer and dryer. Maybe it's a 3-bedroom with a sleep sofa. Maybe it has a pool out in the back. So you pay for these things.
Yeah.
But again, this is a temporary situation. Now, you might have some long-term situations, but these situations come to an end inevitably because they're not meant to be long-term. They're Airbnbs. They're actually somebody else's residence, somebody else's home. Okay, it's a temporary situation. Okay, so whatever money you spend, you're just paying for that period of time to be able to stay there. That's it. You don't get no more than that.
Yeah.
When your time is up, your time is up. You got to go. You got to go to checkout. You know what I'm saying? And you got to, pay for whatever bills or whatever incidentals you have, and you got to go. And you have to leave by a certain period of time. Otherwise, you're going to be in violation of the contract. Here's the real side that we want to get to by the time we get to the end of this conversation. Now there's home ownership. Home ownership means I have gone through a process by which I have acquired a loan from a bank in order to be able to purchase a piece of property that has a house on top of it and that has enough rooms, enough bathrooms, enough square footage in order for me and whoever else I want to include in this property to be able to live, not for a short period of time, but for the rest of our foreseeable lives. Which means this is an investment. It's not just me paying for a period of time. I'm not just looking to stay here for a moment and then I'm going to be gone. No, I'm planting roots when I buy a home. I'm saying this is where I and my loved ones are going to live when I buy a home. And I'm locked into this mortgage, Charles, that I have to pay each and every month.
Yeah.
So this is a long-term commitment. It's not a hotel room. It's not an Airbnb. It is a long-term, I got to pay this mortgage, so I need to take my butt to work every single day in order to make sure that when my direct deposit hits, that I have enough to pay whatever the mortgage is. It's a long-term investment. Now, if we were to apply that to relationship-wise, okay, you have your hotel room, you have your little, I guess your little flame, or, your little temporary situation where, it's just me and you and we just kind of hanging out and we're trying to find out if we like each other or not or whatever like that, and so I guess maybe Charles, you pay a little something, it's a temporary situation. It's a temporary domicile, right? You're just there for you're there for the weekend, maybe. You're there for the weekend. But then when we get to the Airbnb level of it, the Airbnb level says, oh, this relationship is starting to expand a little bit more. We got a little more square footage with this. There are a lot more accoutrements, if you will, that are attached to this Airbnb. And so, we're going on now. We've been together for about a year or so now. And so it's the cost of the relationship is higher now. I have to pay into a little bit more, which means I got to come out of my pocket more than what I did before.
Yeah.
So by the time we reach the home ownership level of this relationship, Charles, we are saying, when we get to this particular point, that we are committed to make the investment that is necessary in order to keep this home.
Wow.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because with homes, I mean, like you said, you have the intention to purpose, but if you default, you can foreclose, right? So it has
Oh
to
yeah,
be
you definitely.
commitment that we are going to keep this going. And so I personally think, when I sit back and look at how we are choosing to, let's just say, lend ourselves out, as opposed to having the
Mhm,
mindset of investing with someone holistically and permanently. It's just like
mhm.
I feel like just because people are single, it doesn't mean you have to go on lease because you haven't entered a contract to purchase. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, but I
True.
feel like what people do that's single by default is it looks like when you're looking at it from a step back view that people are like, well, I'm single, ungoverned, and grown. So their
Mhm.
interpretation of that is I'm able to lease and pull back the lease at any given time. Like you might see some
Mhm.
apartments that offer month to month. It's a higher premium,
Right.
but you can be as thrifty and frugal with the way you want to do the lease as possible. But some people think that
Right.
works for them, but paying more of a premium on top, whether you think you have it or not, for the benefit of a short, non-committed term, still doesn't make sense, right?
Mhm.
But we feel that it
Okay.
works from a non-committed standpoint, but it's just I feel like what we're doing is we are going from being okay with leasing. And think about here's the other important part about this. Think about how when cars are first brought out, there are the cars that people sell to the
Right.
people that's looking to buy, and then they'll
Right.
say, we're reserving these for lease. Then there's the lease market
Mm.
of cars. But here's the kicker. You ever notice how the cars come off even when the cars are done with their lease, maybe 3, 4 years in, they still end up at the auction instead of staying at the car dealership because
True.
you're thinking if they 2, 3 years old, they ain't that old. You can put them on your used side, but they send them to the auction, and
Right.
they don't just send them to the auction simply because they feel like it's a few years old. They send them there because of the duplicative use. It's been so much use
Okay.
on the car, so much service by
Right.
multiple owners. They like, let's just put this in the auction. So imagine us
Okay.
being humans placed in the auction. Like you know how when you go
Wow.
to the auction, you may see some good cars. That's why people take
Hmm.
mechanics with them because 9 times out of 10 at the auction is a well packaged lemon. You go there, they look good, but 9 times out of 10, something is wrong with it, right? Something is kind of deep under the hood. Maybe the transmission don't work. The engine got a knock. You don't necessarily. You need to have a mechanic to pick up on it. AC don't work. It's always something that's costly attached to it. So
Hmm.
when you buy your
Hmm.
own place, you can stand behind your own maintenance of your relationship. But when you're doing the lease world, it gets a little chaotic because everybody's being touched by everybody. So you're losing the pathway of authenticity because the trail is being blurred lines. You know, it's crazy. So that
No,
being
no, you're absolutely right. And
go ahead, you gonna say something?
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I saw some of the
No, no, go
comments.
ahead. You got it.
Okay, I saw some of the comments, and Sean brought up a point to me when he talked about the simps basically. He said the simps, what did he say? Oh, he says women don't respect the simps, right? So here's the simp Adam is the guy, if you never heard the term. Simp is basically the
I know what
sucker
it is.
guy. Yeah, the sucker guy who can't say no and he gets taken advantage of. And he's the opportunistic woman's dream, in other words, if you're that type of
Okay.
woman. So to make a long story short, that thought made me go into the second sphere of what I wanted to talk about today and y'all help me out on this
Okay.
one. This is time to get on the edge of your seat. All right. Let's talk about the two most important things to men and women. To men, most guys, okay, I can't speak for everybody, but to most men, if you ask them, when it comes to relationships, what is the most important aspect to you? Most of them will say the presence of respect. Most guys will say respect because they feel like if respect ain't there, then what do we have? Most women will say, now we're putting aside the whole I need to feel secure. That's important. But when it comes to what they want to feel in rival with a man's respect, it is prioritized. Women want to feel like they are a priority. So men want to be respected. Women want to feel like they're a priority. Here's the $1,000,000 question. In the world of business, a company that says, hey, if Adam calls, make sure you get out there on the spot and deliver what he needs. He's one of our premier gold member customers. So we have to make sure he's prioritized. And that is likely because Adam has been a customer for some years now, and he's always paid. He's always taken care of this, that, and the other. He's been a man of his word. He has a proven track record. So I can prioritize Adam, right? But the other clients, they may call and you're gonna schedule them a few weeks out because they haven't built up that rapport yet. So here's the question.
Okay.
Women, I answer this, help me out with this, and then we'll go. When it comes to men, do you feel men deserve respect up the front? Like when you meet him, you with him, you're dealing with him, he deserves your respect then? Or do you feel the respect that a man is looking for is something that is earned over time? And I want to know what your answer is. Then I'm going to flip it over to the prioritization side. Well, just in the meantime, Adam, what are some of your thoughts on that? Oh, see, Dion said respect is earned.
Well, like I said,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, okay. So like I started off saying before the beginning of the show, um, just as a general rule, we as people don't automatically come out and disrespect people. We at least give them some measure of respect, even if we don't know them. And when it comes to being in relationships, and you guys can help me out with this if you believe it or not, or if you think it's true or not. I do believe that we do give a measure of respect to those who we might possibly be in relationship with. Now, having said that, I also believe that through the course of the relationship, that respect can either grow to the place that it's supposed to be in, or by virtue of certain behaviors, that respect is diminished. Now, whether that respect grows or is diminished is dependent upon our behavior as people. Now, again, we are with a certain level of respect. That's your starter respect right there. That's out the gate.
All
That's the default respect from the jump.
right. Okay.
But the more that I get to know you, the more that I get to interact with you, the more you interact with me, the more various different relationships or rather not relationships, but different situations that we go through, that determines how much more respect you get from me. So Deanna's right. The respect is earned. It's earned based on your behavior. It's earned based on your attitude. It's earned based on our dealings with one another. Okay. Now, whether that respect grows or is diminished, again, is dependent upon how we interact with one another. Whether or not we give more respect or if that respect is diminished between the two of us. And that's something that I believe that we need to kind of like be aware of when we're in relationships, that we're not doing things, our behavior isn't as such that it causes whatever respect we may have with the other person to become diminished. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's at least that's the way I believe that it ought to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the way that it actually
So
happens.
listen, Dion is on her way to getting the gold star. So help us out, Dion. So Dion is she ready to go. Dion, what is an example? Just of and there is no wrong answer. But what is an example? Like as she was commenting, I said to myself, I wonder what women consider respect for a man to be. Like, what is respect from your eyes? What does that look like if you feel like you're a woman giving a man his proper respect? If it's being earned and developed over time, if you get my drift, what does that look like from a woman's perspective? Well, anybody can ask, but if Dion on the road, any of y'all can chime in. But I'm just curious as to what do you feel that looks like to men, and I think that kind of puts the way in the picture as how us men, how we see it versus how they see it. 'Cause I think sometimes there is a mix in correlation as opposed to what men consider a woman showing him respect and what women think respect is. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that it's going to be. I think honestly, it's going to be subjective to the person who's given the respect, because there are some things that one person may consider to be something that earns more respect, whereas that same thing to somebody else, they might consider, oh, that was disrespectful. You get less respect from me based on what you did. So I think it honestly is going to be dependent upon each person's perspective, each person's outlook, how they view it themselves. So I think respect to some degree is going to be subjective. Now, again, having said that, there is a standard of respect that we should have for one another. There's a standard that we all should be adhering to when it comes to giving respect.
What is a standard? What's an example of a standard? Just an example or two of a standard. See, I say that like this, and I'm not picking it. I only say that because you said we all look at it different. But think about it like this. You at the store with your wife, right? You at the store with your wife, and let's just say y'all are going to this place to purchase something, and the man waiting on y'all, he see you standing there, but he's addressing your wife. He talking to her, and he's like, "How are you guys doing?" Looking all up and down at her, and you stand there like, I'm here too." But he addressing her. No, see, he's addressing her, talking to her, and then listen. If she's reading the room, she gonna look at her husband to be like, "This is a little awkward," because she want to know how you feel. But if she don't read the room and she's like, "Thank you, you look nice too. Look at that tie," and then she going on and on and on. Most men gonna be like, now, right. Most men are gonna feel like a little bit like, what the blank is going on? That's what I mean when I say there are some core things that most men are gonna respond to, and then there's some things like you said that men will be like, oh, I don't trip off of that, whatever. But some guys will, and that little fine line of respect, it's really thin. But you'll be surprised the little things that each woman can do differently, that it can be subtle disrespect, blatant disrespect. But it comes, and when it comes, it's just like you there ain't no way to get behind the thing. Dion says a man I'm sorry. I was just reading what she said.
No, go ahead.
Dion says a man has to respect himself before I give him a certain level of respect. I agree with Adam that there is a default level of respect, but to get that next level, I personally need a man to be, a man of his word, do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. If you fall short, then take accountability for that and make it right. I respect that. It's good. Okay. All right. That's good. Now, all right. On tonight now.
And I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It's funny because that's one of the things that my wife, when we were dating, said to me that really kind of I guess made her closer to me, made her draw closer to me, was because of the fact that when I said that I was going to do a particular thing, I didn't lie. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. My word is bond at the end of the day. And I believe that, when you act in a respectable manner, people really have no choice but to give you the respect that you obviously have earned because you have done what you said that you would do. Or rather, to put a more finer point on it, you have been a man of character. You have been a man of integrity. And this is how you earn the respect of others, not only your loved ones, but your coworkers and your supervisors and whoever else that you might run into. You know what I'm saying? That you are acting as a man of character, a man of integrity, whereby because I'm behaving in this particular fashion, you're going to give me respect because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, the whole situation that you just brought up, and I kind of heard it earlier today when I was, watching another show, and I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, if somebody were to show up at the store, and me and my wife are there, and they just looking her up and down, I can tell you right now, she would probably beat his butt. I mean, I have no worries about that. She would tear him down. I guarantee you, she would tear him down. But for my part, I would definitely address that. And I would address that as, yeah, you are being disrespectful at this point. Because again, like I said, there is a standard of respect. There is a default standard of respect that every human being has to pay to each other. Otherwise, if we don't, then this is where we end up with murderers. This is where we end up with rape. This is where we end up with people not valuing other people because we're not respecting one another in that way.
Okay, good stuff. All right, now let's shift it a little more. Let's go to a little bit more turbulence. All right, Adam, here we go.
We already there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're gonna take it up a notch. From what I'm reading, y'all keep me honest. So Dion so eloquently put out there that she has no problem with and we're just using Dion's example as the baseline respect, as you mentioned. But there is levels to other parts of her respect. And she needs to see those things to give them, or she's reserved another. So here's my point. If we are being unbiased in love, right? If men have to basically perform to receive respect, is it fair to say women should perform to receive certain levels of priority? There's a base level of priority that we give to women. And then there is another level that men give, that when a woman has showed him she's all weather, she's all season, she's not just seasonal. Because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of women today, they expect up the front prior. That's if you decide to step off and make it exclusive or anything like that. They expect up front. They expect proven priority, but they haven't shown you much or have a long history to go by. You can say, I think this person is good. I think they're generally nice, or so and so. I think they're okay. But there is parts of a man that if he's a solid guy, he wants to be able to let out all of what he has to give. But he's also saying, but I have to make sure that my priority is respected. Because you can give too much priority to the wrong person and you get disrespected. So that's what I'm just trying to understand this, because like you said, there's layers to a man receiving the respect he may think he needs or should get. So to be fair, are there layers that a woman can be patient with to get her prioritization? Or does it have to be all given right now? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you keep telling the person, I mean, you're special, you are. I mean, I give you grace level special, but there is a lot more once I see a lot more from you. I mean, that's pretty much what y'all are saying about the respect. Once I see more, I'll give more. So is that fair on the man side? Or are we just doing this on one? Is it just a one-sided love affair? And if it is, I guarantee you that's the problem with relationships. Cannot be one side. Both people have to receive a fair exchange. Can't just be do because you the man. Because guess what? Nowadays, Adam, the man seat is interchangeable. He's the man today, and you know to get out tomorrow. It's interchangeable. It used to be back in the day. Yes, go to tell your father because he's the man. Not no more. Father's not even there. But anyway, the point is a different day and time. And so what I'm saying is I think if we want to make this real fair, let's be fair. I'm all for levels with respect. Like I'm all for the base level and let my actions prove the rest. But what I don't like is I don't like the unbiased, the projections between I need you to do this, but you need to be all these things to me. It got to be fair, like because this is how I look at it. Women reciprocate what they receive. Men generate from what they see. Men will generate that motor and do all of those things. You don't even have to talk about prioritization when he feels it is a worthy walkway. If a man feels it, you ain't gonna have to have them questions. You'll see it. But when you don't have that seat, you have that fight. And so I only want to say to people to bring to your attention, listen, it's easy. We can easily be the simps and be like, yes, I'm going to respect you forever in a day. And he sit there in silence and suffer because he's not getting what he needs.
Right.
Every tree that's planted to the soil needs nutrients. There's no tree in the ecosystem that's the male tree that don't need the rain, don't need nothing. He needs his nutrients to grow. Bottom line. And so if men, we got to stop putting our neck on the chopping block and dying. And then the woman's living on. You dead, but she's still expecting you to give her stuff, but you don't have anything because your limbs are cut. You can't reach her no more because guess what? They done came to the chainsaw. I'm all cut up. What can I do? You go and have a good life because she done received all the sunlight, all the respect and all the things that she need prioritization. And you just sitting back there being a facilitator that has to read minds, fix problems, do this, do that. And at the end of the day, it's like, I just don't think we pay enough attention to the fact that it's okay. It's a beautiful thing for anyone to be prioritized. But just like in the world of business, no big client prioritizes any customers that they don't think is special. So you have to prove you're special to be special. You don't just get to be special because you're the opposite sex. You special because you prove you're special. And I think we don't look at it that way. We kind of look at it like it's supposed to happen. I am opposite of you and you need to. No, not in this day and season. People want to be prioritized. People want to be respected. A healthy balance of prioritization and respect, you'll see a beautiful relationship. But when you see disrespect not being prioritized, you're going to see chaos. So I think we need to bring attention to the fact of saying, okay, I heard you. I do like to be prioritized, and it's a must for me. And the man going to say, I'm glad you heard me because I do need to be respected. It's a must for me. So how do you meet in the middle to fix that? You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. So yeah. I would agree. I would agree with most of what you said. I would agree. Yeah. So no, I agree. So here's the thing, though, right? I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna kind of go a little deeper with this, and it's probably gonna mess some of y'all up, but I need to do it. So yeah, it absolutely should be a what I would call an equitable exchange between both parties that are in the relationship. That I need you to respect me, and as you respect me, I will prioritize you. But again, as I've said before, and I will continue to say, uh, if you want more respect, that only comes through the passage of time. That only comes from us dealing with each other on a regular basis, that we are in communication with each other. We're on the same page with one another. We're learning about each other. Okay. And as I learn about you, you learn about me. And as you give me more respect, I prioritize you more. I make you the priority of my life. So again, that's an equitable exchange between the both of us. We're both giving, we're both doing, we're both reciprocating, we're both working this dynamic. I'm working it on my end, you're working it on your end. It's not a one-sided thing, it's not lopsided, it's a two-way street. We're both doing what we need to do, and so that this relationship can grow and become all that it's supposed to be. But I want to propose something to you. I want to propose something that's, again, if you think about it, and maybe you haven't thought about it, but I want you to think about it like this, at least. That and I'm just talking about me personally, when I venture into a relationship, a new relationship with a person that I don't know, I don't, haven't been with them her before, we don't know each other. I have to, as a person who is interested in you, um, I have to take a leap of faith because I don't know you and you don't know me. So I'm willing to give you a leap of faith in making you important in the hopes, because it's not a guaranteed thing. I hope nobody's into a relationship now or getting into a relationship where you're expecting it to be a guaranteed thing, because no relationship is guaranteed. Every relationship that you will embark upon requires a leap of faith, or in other terms, it's a risk. Your relationship, when you pursue it, that person, they're a risk. Why are they a risk? Because you don't know them. And the only way that you get to know them is by spending time with them and by being with them. And so I'm saying all this to say that in my equitable exchange with you, you giving me respect and I'm giving you priority, that first step that needs to take place is a step of faith. That I believe that you will offer me something at this point, as small as it might be, that I haven't earned yet. And again, I'm not applying this to everybody. I'm just talking about how I approach relationships. Because if I want to get something, I got to give something. And if I'm being, y'all not gonna like this. The brother's not gonna like this too much. But if I'm being the man and I'm setting the pace, I'm marking out the race. If I'm being the man, then I am setting the template. I'm setting the model. I'm taking the first step into this unknown relationship by having faith in you that you will reciprocate what I've given back to you. That's where
You
I'm at.
talking about by way of like saying if I'm giving you the priority, and I'm believing by basically my sowing won't be in vain. That's what you're saying. Is that what you're saying? Or you saying it don't matter if you
Yeah.
return? That what you're saying?
No. No,
Oh,
what I'm saying is, now, yes, there should be a return. There should be a return. Yes.
yeah,
But if I don't get the return, can I afford the loss? This is what faith does. Faith says, hey, you don't know whether or not you're going to get a return or not on this.
yeah, for
But
sure.
isn't that what we do with our stocks? Isn't that
Yeah,
what we do with cryptocurrency? That when we buy these things, we don't know whether or not if we're going to get a return on them?
yeah.
How is it that we don't do the same thing in our relationships? That we don't want to give anybody any faith to believe that they have the ability and will return what we've given to them.
That's true.
See, this is what I'm saying is that you want respect, but you're not willing to give priority on faith. And as much as you want priority, you know what I'm saying, you don't want me to give it by faith. Well, how else is this relationship going to work? Because again,
Well,
let's be honest, we don't know each other. And we don't know each other's history. I don't know your behavior. I don't know where you've been and what you've been doing. All I know is what I see in front of me right now.
Okay.
And in order for me to believe that this relationship has a chance, I have to extend some level of faith in you to believe that you will return that to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's look at it like this. What would you call? So you describe the human side of it, the human relationship side of it.
That's all I know is the human side.
What would you call it? No, what I'm saying is, I meant to say you describe the relationship aspect.
Okay.
What would you describe a man or woman that is an ambitious investor of stocks? So
Okay.
you're saying, I don't know you, and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know whether or not this stock that somebody referred to me that said is good is going to pay dividends. So would you call that person brilliant if they dropped $1 million of faith in a company that they don't know the returns yet? Or would you say that person is a fool? What would you say? I mean, it's apples and oranges.
I say that person is a human being.
Yeah. No, I'm only saying it because.
No, I asked you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
No, let me just say it like this. So I understand exactly where you're going with this, because I've invested some money in some stocks that somebody gave me a referral on as a tip.
Yeah.
And I've watched this stock go all the way up, and I've watched it go all the way down. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? But anybody who knows anything about the stock market knows the volatility of the stock market.
Yeah.
That at days, there are good days when it's in the mountaintop, it's peaking high. But then there are other days when it's down. The Dow Jones is down.
Yeah.
And so as a person who invests in it, my hope and my faith is in believing that at some point in time, I'm going to get a dividend on this. I want to get a dividend on this. Now, here's the thing, though, Charles. I don't control the stock. As much as I wish I could, I don't control the stock. In my relationships, I don't control the other person. All I have is my faith in them to believe that when I give them priority, they will give me respect. That's all I got. There, again, like I said before, there is no guarantee with this. You got to make a step out on faith on something that is not certain, something that is not sure, and believe that you will receive a dividend on it. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's, that it's good to go. All I'm saying is it's an act of faith.
Yeah, indeed.
It's an act of faith. What you do with it, that's up to you. But it's absolutely an act of faith.
And I think that's the thing is nowadays not necessarily, and I think this topic is mostly relevant because we live in a time where faith is disparaged in people. We live in a day where this is a time where it's just not like the same. And so Marlena brings up a good point, but it's right to my point. She says men are intended to leave, which leads to creating the relationship blueprint. But the problem is we don't all stand by that today. It sounds good, but our actions don't prove that today. Today we prove you're the man when it's convenient for you to be the man. I'm independent all day long, but when I need you to be the man, pull up. That's the culture we're in. I'm not saying these women, but that's the culture that we're in today. And so, before I forget really quick, Bruce brought up a point earlier. He says, what does respect look like coming from a woman? Yes, this can differ from man to man, but I'm going to tell you, but the bottom line is this. Men look at respect as, it's like the easiest way I can transfer it over, Adam, to my thought is, how we talk about being covered spiritually. Mm-hmm. Respect is a woman covering a man, because respect is actually happening in his absence. Okay. She's tested and tempted more in his absence. Okay. But when she's in his presence, Respect looks like one of the biggest beacons of respect is how does she speak to him? Does she speak to him in a way? I'm gonna tell you what respect looks like. Be in a crowded room. Be in a place where there are men and there are women, and get into it. And if there's disrespect, other men gonna be like this, and so will women, because they gonna say, "Ooh, out of pocket for that." Everybody know what it looks like and what it sounds like. You can speak to
Right.
your partner demeaning, over talk them, not listen. It's almost like I don't care. I want you to hear this anyway. Like you're gonna hear me, and it's just like, wait, we way
Right.
off, we off base here. And it's like all I'm trying to get to say is there's how we speak to people. There's what we do when we're in our partner's presence. Do you defer to that person? If y'all a couple, and if a question comes in as a couple, if he's the man, if he's the lead, do you defer to him? Bruce, what do you think, babe? I mean, I was thinking about. I got some ideas, but I want to know what you think. That's saying I might have the answer, but I want to defer to my man first. What does he think? Since it's God, the man, then me. Let me defer to him, right? So, how you talk to him? How do you defer to him? How do you, again, what do you do in his absence? If he's not there, the first Negro come up, are you chatty catty? Or are you like, oh, sir, thank you, sir. All right. You're going about your way because you're like, I'm in a marriage or relationship. So I'm not going to make my man look like a fool behind his back. Right. So it's almost like
Right.
you are being this. You know how on Fred Flintstone, they had Kazoo. Remember the
Oh
little
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that was on their shoulder? Kazoo's role was to go before them and look out for the things that they didn't see coming. He's the person to be like, Fred, hold on, wait, Fred, this and that's over that hill. So when a woman is adequately respecting a man, she's covering him so solid that she's tying knots that he didn't even see needed to be tied because she respects him and she loves him and she's looking out for all things him. But if you are in competition with your man, that ain't no respect. If you gotta cuss your man out, that ain't no respect. If you hanging up all on your man, that ain't no respect.
Right.
If you don't care, listen, here's the biggest one, Bruce. When you don't care about a man's money. If a man is with a woman, and if all women know when a man spends recklessly or he may be doing too much, it don't mean she don't love him, but that respectful mindset, babe, you don't need that. No, you don't need that because you know you got enough of that. You don't need that. That's her saying, look, I could just get in on this and get in where I fit in, but because I mess with him like that and I respect this, I'm going to say my piece to help him not make a fool of himself with this money because I love him. So I'm going to respect him and be like,
Right.
baby, I'm not going to play in this with you. We need to be a little wise and put this to the side and be smart. So respect can go
Right.
many, many, many
Right.
ways. But again, it's just respect to a man is basically, I don't want to say this ugly word because I want people to take it the wrong way.
Oh, no.
But it really is it's a hint. It's a hint of a mild, it's a submissive act. It really is. Showing a man respect is a submissive act. Because most women can do their own thing. They don't, nowadays, yes, there are functions that you're going to say you need a man. I don't want to be independent in this, right? I need the man, right? Whatever. But at the same time, most women can do this. This world functions in the benefit of a lot of women. They can do a lot of things without us, right? Even when it comes down to the bed, they can say, yeah. Anyway, so so my point is, they don't need a lot of the things with us on their own. So the point is, if we're gonna be together, we gotta coexist in a healthy way that we making sure both sides are getting what they need. Because prioritization to a woman, that means don't put two. I understand maybe person one, maybe person two, but I need to be right there. If you got your mother or if your father still living or if your kid, okay, I understand. but here I am, right? I want to feel like my voice carries influence. My voice can shift your decisions. Women want to know
Mhm.
that you put them front and center and that you make them
Right.
feel that your life doesn't move well without them being well centered. That's what women want to know. When they say priority, you're going to jump, you're going to do this, not necessarily make a fool of yourself, but you're going to be Johnny on the spot in their life, basically, in short. And so men just want to feel that they want to feel honored too. I mean, come on, we just do. We want to feel honored too. Don't you want to feel honored, Adam? Don't act like you don't want to feel Adam. You want to feel honored too.
Oh, I always feel honored. I feel honored every day. Every
But
single day. I feel
guess
honored.
what?
Absolutely.
That honor fuels you, doesn't it? When you feel the honor, it fuels you to be a better Adam. Does it not?
Huh? What? You slowed down. You were stuck. You
Whatever,
stuttered.
whatever,
What'd you say?
whatever. I said that honor fuels you to be a better Adam, right?
I mean, if I'm being honest, yeah, okay. So honor does play a part in it, but for me personally, this is my personal thing. When my fuel is her love for me, and I don't mean to sound, corny, and I might sound corny, whatever. Yeah, exactly. I sound corny, whatever, bro. Her fuel is her love for me.
Oh,
Okay, end of
okay,
the
all
day.
right, fine.
Yes, there's respect.
But what do
Yes,
you need?
priority and honor, huh?
So listen, you said your fuel is her love for you,
Yeah.
right? What does she need? I'm not saying this figuratively to you. I'm just as an example. What do you think she needs for her fuel?
Hmm. That's a good question. Let me text her. Let me text her. I want to say one thing, but I don't. Yeah, I think she would probably say the same thing.
Okay, okay,
Um,
this is good. This is good.
but here's the thing, though, right? Yeah, here's the thing. So between the two of us, you know, we fuel each other. We are each other's fuel when it comes down to it. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we fuel each other. And we propel and we push each other. We motivate each other to be better people or whatever like that. So yeah, it's he thinks
Oh, he said, "Yeah,
it's
tell him." He
what
trying to
is
act
it? Yeah,
like he don't
he
need the
thinks
honor.
he's a Marine.
Yeah, he need the honor, of course.
I already got the honor. I got the honor, baby. I'm good with the honor. I'm good with the
Hey,
honor.
Adam, we gotta get that. Dion's had a good point.
Yeah,
She was
yeah. She
talking
wants to
about
answer
the
that
money.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the money part, she was talking about. We were talking about how it's important how a woman steps up and kind of try to help a man with how he being a little reckless with his money. And she says, "What do you do when he don't listen?" So here's the thing: when you got grown people, they're gonna do what they're gonna do in your face with their money, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do behind your back with their money. But the way you get a man or a woman to listen to you when you know they're being reckless is when they fall on their face or make a bad investment. You just hit them with the rub on the back. It's okay, baby. That's all right. We're gonna be all right. I'm here, baby. I got you. That's how you reinforce him to say, you know what? She was trying to help me. She wasn't really trying to put me down or control my money. She was just trying to help me. So next time out, I'm going to consult her and listen to what she got to say because she's obviously smart with the money. So I don't have to beat on my chest and be like, let me do me and get out of my face. She's obviously trying to care because I don't know whether us men see it or not. But when a woman can help you be unselfish with your money without her wanting
yeah,
something back, that's a good woman. Most
right.
women will tell you to save the money so you can have a carve out money to give back to her. She's just saying, I don't want you to make bad decisions and I just want to see you be a better steward over your money. That right there that's it. If you can get that. But a lot of times I'll tell you, it's those small things that us men don't pay attention to that tells us whether or not your woman respects you or not. I'm telling you, it's very small. And just like it is with women, women know, most women, if they're honest, Adam, most women live with not with being less than prioritized. They give men that grace. I will be honest. Most women are with men and husbands that they can say, yeah, he loved me, but they don't feel as prioritized as they would like. And look, let's just be honest. There's always somebody off in the distance. If you pick me, I prioritize you, but it's always the person who you don't want the prioritization from. Well, let's just be honest. So all I'm saying is most women give men grace. So at the end of the day in this whole thing, the answer is grace. If men know that they're a person that's heavy on the respect hand, but they don't always see a lot of it, if you find value in the woman, you find wise ways to work around kind of sitting back and just kind of watching that grow, like you mentioned, Adam, how things grow to different levels. And women, I think women naturally love so hard with men that they'll be going in like, oh, that's my baby, and knowing that they're going in with a deficit of prioritization. They don't necessarily feel as prioritized as they want to. They love you and they're hopeful because they love, but they know you're not giving them the prioritization that they're giving you. They telling you, oh my goodness, that's my baby. What you want me to do, baby? All right. And when it comes to the man, baby, we're having a special down at the church, and they're awarding me, and I just want you to come. I mean, I'm going to come, but probably they do it every 6 months, right? I'll come there next time. I love you. We're gonna go to eat. I just can't go this time. I'm just making an example. Women eat that all the time from us. We let them down in ways that we think we can make up for, but they look at it like, Negro, you lost some prioritization points. I felt like you should have went to step 2 and 3 for me, but you didn't. But okay, I love you. So here's a new mercy for a new love day that I'm giving back. That's what women do for us that we don't necessarily do for them when it comes to respect. A lot of men are more, all right, Bruce, are more uptight when it comes to that respect. We don't have this, we're not as lenient because I think we have more, to us internally, we have more riding on the respect piece. I'm just being honest. Respect for us is not only hurts us, we don't like how it looks to our peers. We don't like how it feels to our life. A man not being respected is one of the ugliest things ever. Trust me to witness it. When you see it, it's an ugly thing. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope we got something out of this today. Let's try to be more let's prioritize women more, and let's try to get a balance of respect and figure that out. I think we'll be a lot better and a lot healthier if we can meet in the middle and make one another feel special. Because we all are special, but let's make each other feel special. I think when we over cascade one party over the other, it just makes it seem like you're not as special as me. So serve me instead of just loving me. Serve me. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Anything? Any lasting words, sir, before we turn the corner here?
No. I'm good. I think we did a good job today covering this. Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate you all for tuning in another week to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. Apologies for being late today. We had some technical behind the scenes things happening, but we'll see you guys next week, Adam. Yeah, next week, right, Adam? We'll make that. Be off-site.
Should be something special next week. Could be.
Yeah. Okay. Next week, 4:30. Everything. If anything changes, we'll let y'all know. But 4:30 Central Standard Time should be when we kick off next week.
Yeah.
I'll let y'all. See y'all soon.
Wow.
Good night. All right, so now this is it. No prioritization, no respect. Just keep it Airbnb and just
Wow, yeah. I
keep it
figured that's what it. No, not even Airbnb. Hotel room.
hotel B&B. Yeah, keep a hotel B&B.
Motel 6.
Hotel
Motel 6.
Go home.
Motel 6. Motel 6. La
All right.
Quinta. La Quinta.
Oh, that's real cheap.
La Quinta jump.
Oh, wow. All right, y'all. Peace out.